Oh, yes. Tonight on Popcorn Talks Guilty Movie Pleasures, we have Jim Carrey as the Riddler in one of cinematic history's greatest performances. We have Tommy Lee Jones's Two-Face, where he basically just laughs and screams a lot and has a weird purple face. We have Val Kilmer as Batman with the first example of bat nipples ever on screen. And because we are talking Batman Forever.
Welcome to Popcorn Talk, featuring movie discussion, news, and interviews. Popcorn Talk. We talk movies. And now, here's Popcorn Talk's Guilty Movie Pleasures.
Yes.
Oh, yes. Bat fans. Batman, you say? Batman. You know what? I wanted to start the show by singing, there is no way to tell you, not much you can say, you remain. You know, Kiss from a Rose?
Yes.
It's, one of the greatest cinematic soundtrack songs ever. Do I hear people in the lobby in my headphones? What's happening right now?
Everybody's passionate.
What is happening
about
right now?
This guilty movie pleasure.
Everybody, you didn't know we're doing this in front of a live studio audience of 3 interns. It's very exciting.
Thank you, interns.
They're not in the room. They're just talking in the cans.
We know Greg. Greg 1, 2, and 3 can hear us.
Greg 1, 2, and 3. Yeah. So we're talking Batman Forever tonight. In honor of Batman versus Superman, or I don't know if honor.
Is it?
I don't know if honor is the right thing. I don't want to get in too much into my thoughts of Batman versus Superman, but I will tell you that my friend Jordan posted the greatest comment on my Facebook wall when I posted my anger about the movie. He said the best thing, or the worst thing about seeing the movie was hearing the children in the audience ask their parents why their 2 favorite heroes were acting like assholes for 2.5 hours. And to me, that sums up the entire movie. That is all I'll say.
Very factual.
I don't want to get into a nerd rant.
Here's the only thing I will say.
Wonder Woman's fantastic.
Does Ben Affleck not have a neck? We'll be right back.
We'll be right back. Wonder Woman, fantastic.
She was great.
Fantastic. I like Ben Affleck as Batman. I just didn't like his the way they handled the character. And how he's a murderer.
I'll agree with that.
I don't want to give it
just
in case our audience hasn't seen it. We won't give away any spoilers. We won't get into that because today we are talking the Joel Schumacher. I can't even say it. The Joel Schumacher classic, Batman Forever. This is one of those movies where you kind of wonder. Several times in my life, I've seen a Joel Schumacher film and said, "Really? This guy's allowed to make movies?
How was it made?
How does this guy get to make movies?" And this is one of those. I remember seeing this. This came out in '95. In theaters, 95, and then on DVD in like 97. Because remember how it used to, or video VHS used to take like 2 years to come out?
Yeah, it was insane.
95, this came out. So I was, my math is bad, 13. I was 13 years old.
95? 13?
Don't even say how old you are. I'll punch you. This young whippersnapper over
7
here.
right now.
No! So in 95, I remember seeing this in theaters, and I remember thinking it was fun. I was like, at least it was entertaining, because this was right around the time that Jim Carrey had done Ace Ventura. It was like right off of Ace Ventura, The Mask, and Dumb and Dumber, and then I think it was this. I don't know. I might have my chronology messed up.
Post-Cable Guy.
It was Post-Cable Guy.
Yeah.
And so it was just fun, and I remember I was a big Jim Carrey fan. But Jim Carrey movies, just like this movie, doesn't age like a fine wine. It ages like cheese. And
it really does.
And not like, it doesn't get to like a blue cheese. It just gets like moldy, funky, stinky.
You can't help but watch and go, did they direct Jim Carrey? I don't think they did.
I don't think so. I think they just let him do whatever he wanted.
Yeah.
Because there are moments I really like his portrayal as the Riddler, and other times where I'm like, just give me a real moment. Just give me give me one actual character moment and not just hamming it up for the camera. It was super, super weird. So I'm going to put my phone on airplane mode just so it doesn't buzz. There we go. I don't know why I needed to tell you that. But so, I think before anything, what did you think about it when you saw it when you were younger? Because I remember, like I said, I thought it was fun.
When I was younger,
but even as a kid, I knew that Batman and Batman Returns were far superior movies.
Yeah, I mean, so the first Batman I ever saw was the 1989 one. My parents had that on VHS, and I saw that probably when I was 6 or so. I saw this one not far after that. So 6 or 7 was when I saw this one for the first time. And at the time, I go, hey, that's fun.
Yeah.
Right? Jim Carrey, all that.
Because Two-Face, it's almost like watching like a modern update of the 1960s TV show is what it feels like.
You know, it was interesting because I felt like it borrowed from, which I think this is also true to Batman v Superman a little bit too. It borrowed from the original series, and there were times where I think it tried to borrow, specifically in terms of Val Kilmer, from the early 90s cartoon.
Yeah.
Because the Dutch angles are out of control.
Yeah.
There's a little too many Dutch angles, and they're very Dutch. They're like at 45 degrees.
They're as Dutch. I'm trying to think of something Dutch that
they're as Dutch as
the Dutch actor.
Yeah.
Sure, we'll figure out a famous Dutch actor.
Van Struisenberg.
Van Struisenberg is my favorite Dutch actor on the planet.
But it was a much different experience watching it as an adult, and I don't think I've seen it since then.
I've probably not seen it since like 97.
I didn't realize how many lines we were going to be able to pull from this movie.
I had to stop. Finally, I have like 6 pages of notes. We're not even going to scratch the surface.
I have 10 pages of trivia from IMDb.
I just kept when I was watching it, my wife had gone to sleep and I was watching it Monday night, and I remember I kept being like, holy fuck, was just my reaction over and over again, like, how did this, what?
Yeah.
What choices are they making? But before we get into all that, we're going to do the plot in under 3 minutes.
Oh, Jesus.
And it's going to be
I know I say this every
super
week,
fun.
but I think this is going to be the struggle bus for me.
This one,
I got to whip out the 6 pages.
Man. I think it's pretty...
I mean, in terms of specifics for me.
Yeah, we'll gloss over it. So we're going to do this in 3 minutes. On your mark. You ready in the booth, Zach?
Wait, you have to start it, Ben.
3, 2, 1. So we start off in this very elaborate, colorful, looks like a back of a soundstage, because it is. And there's Two-Face, and he's stealing with all these guys that have weird piercings, and kind of like the Red Hood gang or whatever in the comics, but not really. And they have these weird machine guns with these coils on it. They're stealing this safe, and then they trap Batman inside.
That's right. A helicopter picks him up,
after
takes him away.
After we have this weird sexual tension between Nicole Kidman is immediately fuck me eyes to him. The helicopter takes him away. He starts pouring acid, but Two-Face doesn't have the foresight to put the acid that fills the entire safe. He doesn't
have the foresight to put a cop inside the thing without a hearing aid, which is what Batman uses to open the door. Mm-hmm. Then he gets out. Two-Face he jumps into the ocean?
Yeah.
Is that right?
I think so, sure.
Into the ocean.
Yeah. And Two-Face is like, Garr!
Yeah, and that's pretty much where that scene ends.
And then, after Two-Face and everything gets away...
Oh, wait, the chain that that makes the thing go back perfectly into the hole whence it came.
Yep. And then, so this whole pseudo-action opening, then we meet Edward Nygma.
That's right.
And Edward Nygma's instantly crazy, played by Jim Carrey. And he's like, guys, I have this crazy device. It can see what people want to see in the TV. It's like 3D.
And he's a Bruce Wayne fanboy. Really wants to meet Bruce Wayne.
Bruce Wayne fanboy, just like Electro in Spider-Man 2.
Yeah,
Anyways,
that's right.
Super crazy guy. Bruce Wayne's like, this is a violation of civil rights. We cannot do this. And he's like, I'll show you. I'll show them all. And then he immediately goes crazy, kills Ed Begley Jr. by throwing him out the window after he sucks his brain out. Then he starts building this buying
something he calls the box, which is the shape of a blender, and this is what he uses to soak up information.
Yeah,
I think.
Which make him smarter, but doesn't affect the other person at all somehow.
Yeah, I don't know about that.
Long story short, there's Batman. He has another run-in with Two-Face. Who really gives a shit? It's not that great. And then we have Two-Face and Riddler. Riddler comes to him and he's like, hey, you want to join my team? After he decides to put on like just spandex the whole movie, just
green
like
question marks. They're
total Jim Carrey ball cleavage the whole time.
Place.
So then, anyways, Two-Face and Riddler join forces. They start robbing places because their big idea is they're going to rob places so he can get enough money to start his big corporation that has more stock than Wayne Enterprises. And then he puts one of these Riddler the box in everyone's house in Gotham.
Somehow
they start sucking all the energy, and they both start getting smarter. It's not really clear why. Then we're introduced to Robin in the carnival, the circus. Oh god.
Two-Face is laughing the whole time.
Yeah, Two-Face is laughing the whole time. They kill the Graysons. They're dead. Robin, he's like, what are we gonna do with this boy? He's gonna be an orphan at 35. And then Robin sneaks into the Batcave. He finds out he's Batman, and then he steals the Batmobile because that's what you would do if you found Batman. He'd be pretty pissed. Anyways, Batman finds him and says, hey, you shouldn't do that. And he's like, I'm not gonna be Batman anymore. And then he's like, okay, I guess I will, because we gotta go defeat the Riddler and Two-Face, but you can't kill him. And then they go to this island. There's this really shitty fight scene. Two-Face falls. Maybe he dies. He falls into and then the Riddler gets all this brain juice, and he looks like this like man thing. He's like, why can't I kill you? That's it.
That's it.
That was probably the most confusing 3 minutes of my life.
There's a lot of things happening.
There's a ton of stuff that, for a movie that doesn't have a lot going on.
Right.
Somewhere
in there, by the way, Nicole Kidman is just like,
she's
corny
just
as shit.
She is the worst portrayal of a female character in a movie I've seen recently. We're like, we'll do that next. But first, my first sound clip is the drive-through one. Zach, if you're ready with that, where this is legitimately the first thing out of Alfred or Batman's mouth, you have this whole setup of basically you see Batman putting on the outfit, you immediately get Bat Bulge in the first 30 seconds. You get
That's the first shot, I
Bat
think.
Codpiece is shot 3.
Yeah.
And then this dramatic pseudo shaky dolly shot like they were rushed and had a nervous DP. And it zooms in on him, and he looks badass, and you're like, this movie might be good.
Yeah.
And then Alfred says this.
Can I persuade you to take a sandwich with you, sir?
I'll get drive-through.
What the?
What? That's how you're
Let me ask you this.
Hold on.
Did you read the comics?
Yes,
Was
of
there
course.
any of this kind of shit in the comics?
I don't remember Alfred ever being like a nervous stepdad, like, hey, I gotta try and get your love by packing you a sandwich.
Yes.
I don't remember him being like the maid in Billy Madison, like, here's your snack packs.
Nice piece of ass, though, too.
I don't remember that at all, and it was just such a weird opening to a movie.
Yeah.
Like, the only other opening or ending to a film that has a worse line is 2012, where they say no more pull-ups, and it's about a girl who has diapers at too late of an age. But I'm digressing. This is the weirdest opening to a superhero movie I've
super
ever
weird.
seen. And you already know from the beginning, you're like, oh, fuck.
Buckle up.
I mean, at least Batman vs Superman didn't start this way.
Yeah.
But like you were saying, now we'll move on to because there's so much to cover in so
There's
little
so
time.
much.
Chase Meridian
Chase.
is Nicole Kidman's name in the movie, and she basically plays this therapist
Sounds like a bank.
that's been made. Yeah, it sounds like I think I actually have a Chase Meridian card. It gives
Yeah.
great points for travel.
Great benefits. You can use it at the drive-thru.
So Chase is introduced, and the first thing that happens is she's out there like. You don't even really know why she's talking to Commissioner Gordon, who, by the way, Commissioner Gordon is useless in this movie.
What the hell?
He does nothing.
He's like, hey, Batman, turn the light on.
And later on, he's like,
Drive-thru.
he's like, oh, where's that other light coming from?
Oh, there it is.
Must be the Riddler. He's
Like-
useless.
The least sophisticated portrayal of Commissioner Gordon.
And he's the same guy who played him in Batman and Batman Returns, and he was
Way different.
He was well. This is another thing that's so weird. I know I'm getting off topic again, but in the 90s, before the Marvel Cinematic Universe started, where we had a cohesion of sequels, you know, this is the Batman series to me is the best example of the worst way to do sequels to a superhero movie, where it's like Batman and Batman Returns are dark and awesome, and they still age really well.
Yeah.
And then the third one isn't a reboot. It's a continuation of the same story, supposedly, because you have the same actor that played Commissioner Gordon, you have the same actor that played Alfred.
Right.
You have a few other, but then you change Harvey Dent from Billy D. Williams to Tommy Lee Jones, because Harvey Dent in Batman 1 was Billy D. Williams.
Yeah.
And then you change Batman to Val Kilmer, and then in the fourth movie, you keep Chris O'Donnell and Alfred and Commissioner Gordon, but change Batman again to George Clooney. It's just so weird.
Well, what's
like, could you
interesting
imagine
about,
that?
Now, the third to the fourth, I think, is odd.
It's
I don't
odd.
understand it. But the second
Second
to
to
the
the
third,
third.
third one was supposed to be. This film was originally supposed to be directed by Tim Burton again. Mm-hmm. And there was a lot of changeover. If he had directed it, it might have been
Awesome.
very similar and awesome.
It would have been great.
But when he kind of was out of the
The
picture,
Tim Burton one was going to be called Batman Continues.
that is
It's a terrible title.
Batman: The Next One.
It's the worst title I've ever heard.
But there were several different things. They weren't even initially planning on having Two-Face in the movie.
No,
There
it's
was,
just going to be the Riddler, right?
Well, he was also thinking about putting the Scarecrow in.
Yeah.
in
And
lieu of
Robin
the
Williams
Riddler.
went up
Robin
for the
Williams was
Riddler.
supposed to be the Riddler.
There was a few other really cool people that were like Daniel Day-Lewis was looked at as Batman.
Daniel Day-Lewis.
There was some crazy.
Christian Bale auditioned for Robin, which is interesting.
Oh yeah, that would have been a little bit.
Mel
like,
Gibson for Two-Face.
that would have been interesting.
That was-
I mean, he is very Two-Faced.
But he was doing Braveheart at the time, so
yeah,
he couldn't
yeah.
do it. There was one other.
There's
I
so
wrote
many
down. Yeah.
bizarre casting things that like, what if?
Sam Raimi.
If Sam Raimi would have
was
directed this.
Considered when Tim Burton dropped out.
See,
So
that's
that
what they
would've been
should have done
interesting.
because Sam Raimi would have continued the same kind of tone.
You would think.
You would
this
think.
that was the most shocking thing, I think, because I hadn't seen this in a long
jarring.
time, and I remembered it like, oh, it's probably like the first two. Ew.
No, it's
Way
not.
different.
It's about drive-through.
It's about drive-through.
I'll
Chase
get drive-through.
Chase
Charles
Meridian.
Meridian.
Charles Meridian. So this is just a great clip of Chase Meridian, where I think it's called like Sexual Tension or something like that, where she meets she turns on the bat signal because apparently the bat signal is just on a roof where anybody can get to. There's like
Yeah.
no security up there. You would think a signal for the city's crime fighter would have some sort of like key card or something.
One would hope.
Like, I guess I'm just like, it's like the Griffith Park Observatory. You can just walk up there and just fucking flip it on.
I always had that problem with the bat signal, by the way.
It's kind of
in every movie I've ever seen. It's like, turn it on. How do you know? Well, okay, say if somebody goes up there and turns it on, it's not Commissioner Gordon.
I know.
Batman must be annoyed as shit.
Yeah, it's like the firemen when they come and you're like, which one of your kids dialed 911? It was me.
He's at home. That sounds like Commissioner. That's a great Commissioner Gordon impression.
Thanks, I appreciate it.
It was me.
So Chase Meridian and Batman have this weird sexual tension where there's no build up to it. The second he swoops in, she's like, ugh, I wanna fuck that bat. That's it. It's like there's no characterization, there's no backstory to her. She just seems like a crazy starfucker. Because later on, she's on a date with Bruce at the circus, and she's like, I've met someone else, I can't be with you. Then he comes back to her as Batman later, and she goes, I've met someone else. And you're like, you are crazy.
Decide, lady.
If I was Bruce Wayne, I'd be like, you are a bag of crazy cats. I don't want this. Hashtag bag of crazy cats.
Hashtag bag of crazy cats. Hashtag too many nipples.
Too many nipples. You can never have too many nipples. So here's the sexual tension clip when she's trying to hit on Batman, and it's so weird.
What is it about the wrong kind of man? In grade school, it was guys with earrings. College, motorcycles, leather jackets.
Makes sense.
Now, black rubber.
Try fireman. Less to take off.
I forgot about that bit.
Fireman.
I'm pretty sure though that she was making a masturbation joke. She was talking about a dildo.
I think so. But maybe, I guess, but the weirdest thing is you can't see it because it's just audio, obviously, but they do an insert shot of her basically honking his boobs, his bat boobs, when she goes, and now, black rubber. And we talked about this. If the suit was made out of black rubber, is it like bulletproof black rubber?
That's horrifying if that's the truth.
It seems just, so he's just like one step away from a bondage club. Yes. That's it.
That's exactly how she paints him.
Yeah. Black rubber. Imagine that. If you were
black rubber.
If you were at a bar, even if I was cosplaying as Batman, and some woman came up and said that to me, I'd probably be like, what is wrong with you? What is your deal?
I don't know, I'd be okay with it.
I mean, well, I'm married, so I have to say that, but like, dudes, for real, you know what I'm saying? If like, there we go.
We do have it. Are we going to throw that up?
Can we throw that up there? How romantic.
We'll try and throw up a picture here.
Look at this. Look how romantic. Is it on the screen? I can't even tell, Zach.
Take a look at this.
I mean, that
I'm gonna
right there.
assume it's on the screen.
I have some people's faces look really funny in the Batman mask. I thought Christian Bale's looked kind of funny.
You know, I think Val Kilmer did like a lip thing.
Yeah,
he's like,
he looks kind of like a kid that dressed up as Batman, and he's like, hey guys, it's just like he's got these chubby little cheeks, and I'm just Batman. I'm so adorable. But that being said, I actually don't mind Val Kilmer as Batman. I didn't hate it.
I don't mind him either, but it was interesting to see a Batman who's portrayed by Val Kilmer as this guy who's really depressed.
Super depressed.
And going through a lot to be in such a campy movie.
Yeah, it didn't seem to fit. All the weird dream sequences, and when I was watching this, I was still going through post-traumatic shock from how many times I saw the fucking pearls fall in slow motion in Batman v Superman, that when it happened again in this, I was like, the goddamn pearl necklace!
After Batman v Superman, I watched one of the animated movies I had never seen.
Same thing, right?
Same thing
all
happens.
the time.
We get the origin story.
We get it. We've seen Martha Wayne's pearls fall on the ground. You don't need to show us again. Just like Spider-Man, we don't need to see him get bit by a radioactive spider again. If you don't know the origin story, you should not be going to this movie.
That's right.
You know? Like, whatever happened to that's why the Daredevil show is a Netflix show is so good. They're just like, boom, you're in it.
He just kicks ass.
He's fighting. We'll explain the backstory later.
Yeah.
Who gives a shit?
Yeah.
Anyways.
So
I was writing down how the fight scenes in this movie, they all look like they're stunt rehearsals because they're really terribly.
People don't look like they're touching each other, right?
No.
Yeah.
They're the camp. I feel like I'm watching. I saw Marvel Universe Live, that really cheesy show that's meant for children, where you go and you watch the characters do a live stunt show.
Yeah.
And that was kind of weird because they have like powers that don't exist because it's the real world. But I saw the Batman live show, and the stunts in that were badass. The fights were pretty cool. The fights in the Batman live show were better than the fights in this movie.
Yeah.
And that's pretty bad. But
That's bad.
I feel like there's this weird gray area of the 90s where like early 90s still had the kind of almost 80s charm to it a little. Mid 90s they started getting a little crazy with the CGI that they weren't ready for yet. Then once the Matrix hit, everything took off. But in the mid 90s, it's some of the worst special effects you'll ever see.
100% agree.
Because they're like, fuck practical. We're gonna do these weird like pseudo CGI Batman floating in, but is he? It's really
I don't know.
weird.
Very
it's super
animated.
off-putting.
We're sliding him down a tube. Why couldn't we just slide him down a tube? Which, by the way, just gonna say this right now. How far down is the fucking Batcave?
Because
he slides down,
so
and
we're
yet
talking,
it's a door.
We're talking about a scene where after he meets Edward Nygma, and he's like, well, that guy's weird. He goes in his office and goes, lock, and his door locks, and he sits in his chair and goes, chair. And then the chair, lock, chair. And the first thought I had was, I hope that's voice activated, and like a janitor can't come in and be like, oh, this is a nice chair. Oh, shit! It just like falls down and ends up in the...
where'd you get that chair?
Ends up in the Batcave like, oh, dude, so sorry. I said chair next to your chair because, you know, people say chair sometimes.
It's things like that where we talked about this in another movie. I forget which one it was. Where you think in the script that was definitely a placeholder that just ended up making the movie, because there's no way that they couldn't have thought of, like, you say like bats fly forever, and then you fall down or something, you know, whatever.
Yeah, or something like Martha Kent is my favorite mom, you know, or something.
That's also
that
assuming
makes no
that anything
I meant Martha
you
Wayne.
see, if you say the name of the inanimate object, something will happen.
That'd be great. And just before people get all ticked off, because I know some people get mad when we bag on movies too much, I find this movie unintentionally hilarious and super fun to watch.
That is why it's a guilty movie pleasure, because I see all these things, but I love watching it, and I love having all this stuff to talk about.
Yes, for me, I actually, even though this movie is super terrible, it's awesome at the same time. It reminds me of like Garbage Pail Kids or something. No, it's not as bad as Garbage Pail Kids.
I couldn't stop watching it.
But it was like watching a hilarious, glorious cartoon train wreck is what this movie is.
Yes.
And I want to play one of God, first. So in the safe acid scene.
Cop?
The cop is one of the worst actors in history.
Yeah.
And we have a clip from him. I think it's called like Bad Actor or something like that, or Acid maybe. What is it? Yes, that's what it is. It's clip G. So Batman, he's dangling and the acid is coming in, and he's looking down at the acid and he says,
No!
Hold on.
Yes!
and all of his lines are delivered in that. He's like, oh, my shoes are melting. It's so weird. It's like an SNL version of Jimmy Stewart, ratcheted up a few pitches in this. It's so weird. It's so weird. My hearing aid!
Oh.
Give it back!
No!
Hold on.
Yes!
Hold on. That's actually I don't do roller coasters that well anymore in my old age.
Yeah.
When I was a kid, I used to love them. Now my equilibrium, they say fluid in your ears, it happens. So I was on X2. It's so extreme they had to do it squared at Six Flags, and as it's going up the hill, I'm just like, oh man, this isn't gonna be good. And my wife knows how if she talks to me in a Batman voice, it calms me down. Mm-hmm. So as we're going up the hill, I'm like,
No!
and she goes,
Yes!
and I had a blast.
Ben,
she does a great. She sounds just like Val Kilmer as
I have
Batman.
to hear it. I have to hear the
I'll have her
Batman
call in.
impression
I'll have her
sometime.
call in.
Please do. You know, every time.
Hold on.
Hold on. Every time I have sex in the shower.
Yeah.
This is exactly what. That's it. That's the only story.
Yeah.
This is what happens.
No!
Hold on.
Yes!
You just never know how it's gonna go. Sometimes it's,
Again,
you know,
the girl you met on Tinder does a great Batman impression.
she does it great.
and you're just nervous because you know how slippery your shower floor is.
You know the best way to dry off? Towels from Burlington Coat Factory.
God damn it! You and your Burlington coat. While we're on the subject of really bad extras, there's another.
Oh,
one.
yes.
There's Batman. Where there's so many moments. I couldn't even pull all of them because there's too many. There's so many moments in this movie where bad extras either just were directed to do it once, or they were ADR'd by someone who's never done ADR before. But when Batman crashes through the ceiling in the ball where Two-Face is trying to take over and they're stealing all the shit, who cares?
Yeah.
This guy points up and says this, you got Batman, yeah? Play it. Oh my god! Batman!
again.
Yeah!
I think it was a temp track.
I don't like how
Batman, yeah!
it sounds like the most socially awkward, like I don't even know what's happening there. It's the strangest voice choice ever.
It really is.
Batman! Yeah! And his expression is priceless. He's like, wait for it. And he's dead. He's right next to Nicole Kidman, who's like, oh, black rubber. That's all she's thinking the whole time. She has no concept of her own mortality. She just wants to.
No, she just wants some bad
got
action.
Some cosplay fetishes. So, we skipped over Edward Nygma's thing. No, I'm
Which
sorry.
one? There's
Actually,
so many.
first off, there's the Two-Face celebration where most of Tommy Lee Jones's performance in this movie revolves around laughing or yelling. Or laughing or yelling.
Yeah.
And so this
Flipping
this
coins.
pretty much sums up his performance. If we have, Here we go.
Yes, oh, happy day.
That's I heard Zack Snyder, after he got all these bad reviews, he was kind of bummed. But then when he saw the box office returns and found out that he's still on by some stroke of luck, I guess, for Justice League Part 1 and 2, he actually posted a video on his Twitter where he was flipping off all the haters and he was going,
Yes, oh, happy day.
Yes.
we're gonna get
It's so
some
guttural.
we're gonna get some hate.
It's so guttural.
We're gonna get some hate from this from a couple Batman
I'm
v Superman
okay.
fans.
I'm okay with it. You know, every time I'm sick, what's your favorite thing to watch when you're sick?
I actually really love either G.I. Joe, the original series, or X-Men, the animated series. I like pretending I'm a kid again, home from school.
Well, I have a bit of a departure from that. I watch The Price is Right, Ben.
That's okay.
And
So
every
you're
time...
like a 75-year-old woman.
I am a 75-year-old woman. I love seeing those Life Alert commercials. Wilfred Brimley, if you're watching. Liberty Medical does help you live a better life.
I don't even understand that reference.
Ew, there's like one Price is Right.
I don't watch
person that's
daytime TV.
But every time I watch it, I'm always hoping to see Plinko. Have you ever seen Plinko?
I don't know what that means.
Ben, every time I see Plinko on The Price is Right, I go,
Yes, oh, happy day.
oddly enough, the end of that does sound like Wilfred Brimley.
Yeah, it's super strange. I don't even know how to top that one. We have so many sound clips. I want to move on because there's so many. Now I wrote this in my notes. I wrote "Holy shitty CGI Batman," which I think was when he flew down. From
Oh my God! All the flying stuff
everything.
was just like,
Wait, but the Two-Face reaction that we just played is right after Batman's hanging from a chain, and they decide the best way to get rid of him is by flying the helicopter through an electric billboard.
yes.
Which the helicopter, it blows up like crazy, but the helicopter gets out on the other side without a scratch.
Yeah.
I don't know the mechanics of helicopters. I'm not an expert.
Yeah.
But I would assume crashing it into anything would
Generally not a good idea.
Generally would stop the blades and it would crash.
Yeah.
So,
It was a special
It's a
military
special
grade
military-
helicopter.
I just
Not
wanted-
destructible,
just wanted to clear
but
that up.
kind of destructible.
Just wanted to clear that up. But here's the Ed Nygma. We have Edward Nygma's first thing where Jim Carrey from the beginning. This is one of the things I think Jim Carrey, like half of his, we were talking about this before the show, half of his performance is so fun, and the other half I'm just like, just give me a real moment. Just give me a real character thing. Maybe we said it on the show. I don't know. I blacked out.
we didn't.
But it's one of those things where I would have loved to have seen him play it down a little bit for Bruce Wayne, then reveal the crazy in this clip that we have. But instead, he just seems nuts to Bruce Wayne right away. So of course Bruce Wayne is going to be like, "Fuck you! I'm not doing your stupid box thing."
He runs after him.
Why didn't he play it normal first and then crack? Because here's what he says after Bruce Wayne turns down his ridiculous 3D brain-sucking TV idea.
You were supposed to understand. I'll make you understand.
You know, I used to tutor kids in algebra.
Yep.
And most of the time I was pretty good at
Yeah,
it. Things
yeah.
went well, A plus squared equals 4.
Yeah.
And
Yeah.
there was one kid in particular.
8 plus squared does equal 4.
It does. And he just didn't get it. And one time I finally just broke, and I said,
You were supposed to understand. I'll make you understand.
Such a long pause.
anyways.
Oh, God.
He turned out to be very smart.
I'm really trying not to do another Batman v Superman show.
Do it. No, do it. Come on.
I'm trying not to.
I'll make you understand.
Why is Batman a murderer? Ben Affleck comes out.
I'll make you understand.
By the way, I did love Ben Affleck as Batman. That's the one thing I'm really pissed about is that people are blaming him.
Oh,
They're like,
no, yeah.
When there's people on Twitter like, Ben Affleck told you he was going to suck. And it's like, no. All the blame is on Zack
You know
Snyder.
what? I thought...
All the blame is on Zack Snyder for any problems you have.
Yes, I completely agree. Quick departure from, again, to Batman v Superman. Thought Ben Affleck was he fit the role of Bruce Wayne in appearance more than anybody I've ever seen.
And he played the... So anyways, go see... We do want
Batman v Superman.
We don't want to keep harping on it, but I would love to know in the comment section of the YouTube page or tweet at us at Guilt... We're not wrapping up the show, don't worry.
Or MySpace.
MySpaces at Guilty Movie Guys. Let us know your thoughts on Batman vs. Superman, v Superman, I guess we're supposed to say now.
Yeah.
Stupid.
Well, here's the thing. And if you don't understand how Twitter works... We'll make you understand. That was a stretch.
Damn it. It's all right. It's all right.
It was a stretch.
So, tweet at it. Don't say any spoilers yet because we don't want to ruin it for anybody. But let us know what you think because, like I said, I'm on the fence. I liked a lot of it, but I had many problems. So I want to know if you're a super fan. I want to find out why. But here's the... so Edward Nygma, super crazy from the beginning, which this is the whole... Just the insane... I've seen almost every superhero movie that's ever been made, and there's been some bizarre, and Bond films too in that realm, where some bizarre bad guy motivations, some bizarre end of world schemes. This one might be the strangest because I don't know what the Riddler's end game is. He's just like, I'm gonna put a bunch of boxes in every house, and I'm gonna soak up all this knowledge. And me and Two-Face are going to pass it back and forth, going, does somebody feel like a fried egg? And that's it. What's the end game?
I don't know. Apparently the end game is to not be smart enough to have Batman win by throwing a dagger at a light bulb.
To not be smart enough to have everything tied into one light bulb. Oh, shit. They put it all on one circuit like Christmas tree lights?
Yes.
That's what it was.
Damn it.
He's like, I knew we shouldn't have tried to save money.
Though. And also, like, how do you...
What?
I would like to think, I hope this isn't the case, that the process from going from a kind of moderately on the edge person to absolute maniac is a longer process than overnight putting a green costume on, changing your hair, and having a cane. Yeah, and he looks like a lazy, not to sound not PC, but he looks like a lazy drag queen in a lot of his scenes. Like, he has, like... Or he looks almost like he was auditioning to play... rest in peace. He was auditioning to play David Bowie in the David Bowie biopic. Yes.
In a lot of these, like he has like the blush. It looks like something out of like Labyrinth or you know, why am I blanking? David Bowie's alter ego. What's the alter ego?
Stardust. Ziggy Stardust.
Ziggy Stardust.
Yeah.
He looks like he's auditioning for a Ziggy Stardust movie.
Yeah.
For most of it's so bizarre. His hair's like pink. He's got
But you know
blush.
what? His hair. So he has the short green or orange pinkish hair.
Yeah.
And then later he's dressing similarly to Bruce Wayne.
Yep.
And somehow it has grown back in a fashionable form with the fake mole. And then
so
it goes
weird.
back to short.
How?
By the way, nobody noticed the mole on Val Kilmer until
and then
they put a big one
Val
on
Kilmer
him.
was like, "Fuck you guys, man!
It's my face.
It's my face, guys. You got to call out the mole." And the portrayal of naughty and nice or whoever they are, the characters that are there's randomly halfway through the movie, like an hour in, Two-Face has these two slutty. And I use that term because they are portrayed this way.
Yes.
They're portrayed very, very just like in lingerie. It's Drew Barrymore and I forget the other actress's name, but they're like an angel and a devil on his shoulder. And the only thing I could think in that moment is how gross the three-ways must be in his villain den. Because I'm like, what other purpose do
How
these...
does that work, by the way? Because he has to be right on that middle line. How does that work?
Exactly. Is his
I don't
whole
know.
body that way?
I think so.
Also, the makeup on Two-Face is hilarious in this movie because it's so perfect down the line.
And there's no blend.
There's no blend. It's just like line of purple.
Yeah.
And I don't know what acid would make your face turn perfectly purple.
Debbie Mazar, by the way.
That's right, Debbie Mazar. Yeah. So I'm a fan of both of them in other movies, but in this movie they are just sexual eye candy.
Yeah.
And the only implication I can find is that Two-Face grotesquely bangs both of them, and it freaks me out to think of purple.
Halfway. I don't know how it works.
I don't know how it works either.
But the purple face,
it just freaks me out. It's weird. And then how the Edward Nygma comes in, joins forces. Oh, I think I have the clip from, where is it? So when I already played that one. What a Rush. Do we have What a Rush? Yeah. This is when he first sucks the brain juice out of Ed Begley Jr.'s character, who actually is a very distant cousin of mine.
Ed Begley?
Yeah, he's a nice guy. Really nice guy. He's a good guy. He's a good guy. Nice guy. You know, this actually happened to me the other day. Yeah. I was at Menchie's. And,
yeah.
I like to do like every 5 different flavors, you know, and then I like to scoop. One time I like to scoop them all in one scoop and try it. And I got too big of a scoop and I got a brain freeze. And I turned to my wife, Renee, with this brain freeze, and I just looked at her and I was like,
That's a good time at Menchie's.
Yeah.
You know, I was talking about shower sex earlier. When it
please.
does go well, I can't help but get out, dry myself, and go.
He sounds in so much pain.
What a rush!
It's so weird. That's just one of the, I mean, literally, I could have pulled an hour and a half of just Jim Carrey sound clips because it's so strange.
And contorting his face and the body. And
oh my God. And the hilarious exposition of Two-Face as the district attorney, where I love, there's a scene where Batman just happens to be watching a recap of Two-Face and how he turned into Two-Face.
Yeah.
As if he needs to watch that because he already knows it.
Yeah.
So, like, why does Bruce Wayne have to be sitting there going, let me remind myself of this moment I was at?
Yeah.
And he's just like, they show Tommy Lee Jones like lawyering it up, and then this guy, like in the comics, which I always thought was ridiculous, smuggled in some kind of really bad acid to the courtroom and goes, "Fuck you, Dent." Not really, because it's PG-13. And he puts up and how they explain it in the movie is he puts up his folder, and so the folder blocks half of his face. So this acid is strong enough to melt his face, but not paper. So if you're playing rock paper scissors acid, paper beats acid.
Always the paper.
Paper always beats acid.
Always the paper.
But,
by the way, a bit of trivia about that.
Yeah, please.
This is the first film where Two-Face is introduced as Two-Face and not Harvey Dent.
Yeah. And I love that Batman jumps out of the audience in the courtroom.
Why was he there?
Like, was he just sitting there in his Batman costume the whole time?
It's like, nothing's happening outside today. Judge Judy's not on till 4.
Could you just imagine like a juror or one of the courtroom goers just being like, I mean, I've sat next to famous people in movies before and been like, holy fuck, oh, that's Chloe Sevigny. Yeah. That's Chloe Sevigny. Oh, cool.
Please rise. But
not
Batman.
Yeah, I mean, I just imagine there's some courtroom member like, hey, Batman. Hey, Batman. Hey, Batman. Hey, I'm trying to watch the trial. In case anybody does anything crazy like throws acid on this guy, I'm ready for it. And then that's what happened. He's like, I know somebody's going to try and hurt Harvey Dent. And the guy's like, Batman. Hey, Batman. And then he's like, ooh, you just shut up. See, fuck you. I told you they were going to throw it. And he missed it. He missed it because this guy just kept bugging him the whole time. Batman. That's what he yelled. That's what he yelled the whole time. Oh, God, there's just so many notes I have here.
There's so many friggin' notes. I don't even know what...
And, the part where Chase has clearly a bat Rorschach in her office. And
that's not a Rorschach.
And he's like, oh, you like bats? And she's like, it's actually a Rorschach. You see what you want to see. And I'm looking at it, I'm like, if you see anything other than a bat, you might be certifiably insane because it's clearly a bat.
Maybe that's how they do it, though.
That's how they do it.
She says, you see whatever you want to see. And if somebody comes up and goes, that's a toy truck, then you're like, okay.
We need to give you some medication.
You're going to go to Arkham.
Oh, please. Can we talk about... We're at the point on page 2 of my notes, so we're doing real well.
Oh, my God.
We're at the point where Robin comes into the story. And
Let's talk about Robin.
so the setup of this is Bruce Wayne and Chase Meridian go on a date at the circus.
To the circus.
Because
Which, by the way, when he says, what was that line? We probably didn't pull it because we have so many other good ones. But he's sitting there talking to her and says, "Hey, why don't we? Got to get you out of those clothes.
Gotta get you out of those clothes
and into a black dress.
And into a black dress. Yeah.
Do you like the circus? What?
So confusing.
Dinner. Do dinner,
Dinner,
Bruce.
man.
Come on, you can afford it.
Why the circus? Just so you can happen to be there when Dick Grayson's parents are killed.
By the way, no rich people go to the circus.
No. And in the comics, when Batman, when Robin, Dick Grayson, when his parents die in the comics, it's brutal. I remember reading it as a kid and being devastated.
Right.
And the way they handle it in this movie, first off, Chris O'Donnell looks like he's 30, maybe 27 at the youngest.
I don't
And
know.
he has this really goofy earring, which is super distracting.
Poor choice.
And Joel Schumacher was like, I want him to look hipper. That's my Joel Schumacher voice. I want him to look hipper. So already you're like, oh, Dick Grayson's parents died. Well, no big deal because he's in his 30s. I mean, it's a big deal because his family died.
Yeah.
That sucks. But he's in his 30s. He can get like a middle management position or continue at the circus and be
fine.
a barker or something.
Yeah.
And then the next scene, they're... Alfred and Batman are like talking about him. And he's like, I can't let him go out on the streets. Social services will get him. And I'm like, what?
Yeah, it's super shocking.
He's supposed to be 17?
I thought it was a joke. I thought it was a joke because the first line was, I'll take the drive-through.
Yeah.
And then he invites a 35-year-old to his garage and offers him a motorcycle.
Such a terrible casting choice. And it's
Chris
not even,
O'Donnell.
he doesn't even do that bad. It's just so weird to see a grown man playing a 16 or 17-year-old. Or
Yeah.
he's supposed to be like 14 or like 13 or
Here's the
14 in
thing.
the comics,
But,
I think.
if they had decided to make Robin older,
Then just cut out the
that's
whole I need to
fine.
adopt you thing.
I would have accepted that 100%.
Yeah.
Oh, okay, cool. Robin's
Yeah.
not a kid. Why
Yeah.
would Batman even partner with a kid? Okay, yeah, that's fine.
Yeah.
But the 35-year-old
Super weird.
Bruce Wayne going, I might adopt you someday, son. That's a little odd.
Weird. It just seems, it seems strange.
Yeah.
And then here's my bat nipples. Anyway,
Yeah.
so
look at the bad nipples.
this is one of my favorite moments of action in the movie where Batman's getting chased, but because Two-Face is in this movie one of the worst movie villains ever because he never really fully thinks out a plan. His big plan is Batman gets the bat signal. He's driving down. He has one guy on his tail, and this old woman with a baby cart comes out, and then Two-Face lifts up the sheet and has a gun and is like, ha-ha, ga-ga-ga-ga-ga-ga, and Batman swerves away, and he's like, I missed him!
Yeah.
And then, like, 10 cars come chasing after him, and you're like, okay, maybe this will work, and then they chase him down an alley, and Batman shoots a grappling hook through this building, and then it lifts him up, and he drives up the building in one of the shittiest and awesome, most hilarious scenes in the movie. I laughed so hard when they show this sideways shot of people like, huh?
Oh, that's amazing.
Oh, it's so fun.
They were supposed to do in this film a chase scene up on the rooftops.
Yeah.
They ended up doing it in Batman and Robin.
You remember that one?
Yeah. But they couldn't do it in this one because of budget and time. Like they ran out of both. Somehow they ran out of both.
And then I said, how the fuck did how the Riddler face the what? I don't even know what I'm saying.
I have a question about the Riddler.
How did he get into Two-Face's lair? He just walks in.
That's literally what I was about to say.
He just walks in.
And then I don't get it.
Are there no guards?
No.
So there's no guards.
There should be 2 guards.
There's no guard. There's no guards for the bat signal, and there's no guards for Two-Face's lair. So at least the bad guys and good guys are even in lack of
that's true.
security. And there's
That's
no guards
true.
at Wayne Manor because they can just twig a tweet later and just blow up the place. But anyway, so yeah, Riddler just walks in right after we're introduced.
I had 2 questions about layers. That was the big one. The other one was, how did Enigma / the Riddler, how did he get his layer built so quickly?
It's because they went on a crime spree, and no one thought to question where Edward Nygma, who just got fired from Wayne Enterprise, who quit because he couldn't deal with his boss's suicide.
Yes.
That he somehow gathered up this fortune and was able to build a giant factory on an island.
In 3 days.
On an island.
Yeah.
In the span of a week. The span of a movie week.
Yeah.
You know? But weird, right? He just walks right in. And like he owns the place.
Yeah, it was.
And then he gives this speech. He gives, we have the Riddler's.
Oh, we have it, yes.
We have, It's So You. That's all I kept, because he's talking about how he loves Two-Face's space because it's dark and it's bright and shiny, and then he says, it's so you.
It's so you, and yet so you.
My favorite part of that clip is at the end when you hear Two-Face go, it's, oh man.
Tommy Lee Jones, I'm so curious if Tommy Lee Jones read the script and it's just like the bats.
I think I read an early shooting draft.
You did?
Of it.
Oh, yeah, okay.
You know what I was thinking? Last time you and I went to Burlington Coat Factory.
Yes.
You tried on a coat, and you came out, and you looked so good in it. I was like, that coat fits you perfect. And I just looked at the person selling it to us, and I was like, isn't it?
It's so you. And yet so you.
And the person helping us was like, I agree with that statement. It is so you, Cam.
Oh my god.
Cameron Wolfschlager.
Oh Lord.
Wolfenstein.
Hey.
It's so you. And so you. Oh, man.
I did like the layer though. I liked
The layer is fun.
Layer that was divided in half. That was nice.
They're
asking what should I have for dinner or something, right?
Yeah.
Isn't that in there?
Super weird.
I really liked that.
How hot does
Very weird.
Drew Barrymore look in this movie?
Pretty hot.
She's super gorgeous.
Yeah. They were considering her at one point to play Poison Ivy, right?
Which would have been kind of cool. I think Uma Thurman, that's one of the only good things about Batman and Robin is Uma Thurman as Poison Ivy is really good.
Yeah.
What else do we have to talk about? We have so many pages of notes. This is one thing. So once the lair was built, right?
Yeah.
Isn't it it's not a red flag to anybody that these green
things are just coming out?
Green beams are then going into the sky like a bad CGI leftover from Ghostbusters 2. And which is a fantastic movie, by the way. But so it's like these green orbs are going from people's homes into this island mega base lair, and Riddler's just sitting there like,
Yeah.
That brings up a point. I thought that Jim Carrey played the Riddler in this movie as if Ace Ventura got left behind at the mental institution when he's dressed in the tutu, and Courtney Cox's character never came back for him, and he just had to spend the rest of his life going, Blue 41, Blue 42, hut, hut. That's what this performance is like.
I completely agree.
It's just if Ace Ventura was left behind and forgotten.
I 100% agree.
Is who Edward Nygma is.
But so that's a lesson to everybody out there listening / watching. If you're on a boat, you're going by an island, and you see what is kind of looks like a ninja, like one of those ninja bullets or whatever.
Yeah. Oh, like a blender. I thought you meant a ninja with ninja stars, but I get it.
Yeah, if you see like a ninja blender,
like a smoothie blender,
with green lasers coming out of it,
probably
very normal. Very normal, you're fine.
Yeah, it's not a nefarious villain.
No.
Soaking up all your smarts for no endgame.
No.
I wish they would have put something in there like, hey, I'm getting all this smarts so that eventually I can be smart enough to take over the world. What is he going to do with all that smarts?
I have no idea.
Go on Jeopardy and win more money?
At math.
That's it.
Yeah.
That's it. He's going to go on Jeopardy, and he's going to go on Price is Right because he can memorize.
That would have been it.
He can memorize every price, so he can go on Price is Right.
Smart shoppers. By the way, what did you think of when Robin / Dick Grayson? Well, there's a couple different things I have to say about him. Number one,
go ahead.
When he ends up going into the Batcave.
That was the next thing. We're Hive Minds today.
The door
is the slowest
moving door. And by the way,
history.
Dick, you're so good at what you do. Is it aerialist? Why don't you just swing on the first thing you're swinging on and just go long shot, slide on the floor into the door? Instead, you're bouncing off of everything.
Trapeze parkouring it.
Yeah, and the door, gotta get that door fixed.
Yeah, I mean, Alfred, come on, man. It's all your fault.
Yeah, you know what, Alfred? You are
a
very nice person.
You are very
nice. I apologize.
Yeah, I'm sorry.
Did you catch whenever he was trying to decide his name, he said Nightwing?
Yeah, which was what Dick Grayson becomes after you think he's dead and he comes back.
Indeed. Also, another note about Dick Grayson. Whenever Chris O'Donnell was driving the Batmobile, is one thing. So the Batmobile, for the most part, was driven by stunt drivers.
Except he
insisted to drive it, and when he did, he crashed it.
What an a-hole.
What a Dick Grayson.
Dick move, Dick Grayson. The the other thing is that Batman confesses it's a Chase and a Robin that his parents were murdered when he was young, and they both act super shocked. And Chase specifically confused me because she's like, I've done my research on you, Bruce. And it's like, well, isn't it common knowledge to everyone that he's an orphaned billionaire?
Yeah.
Like, did you
I've
just...
done research. I heard you have money.
I read the first 10 facts about you on Wikipedia.
Yeah.
And then I stopped and thought of, black rubber.
Black. Can we hear that one more time?
Please.
I just want to hear that one more time.
What is it about the wrong kind of man? In grade school, it was guys with earrings. College, motorcycles, leather jackets. Now, black rubber.
By the way,
fireman must take off.
by the way, you can't understand, Ben. Your family wasn't killed by a maniac.
I know. I can't understand it. And it's oh man. Speaking of when Robin, Dick Grayson, goes and tries to save this girl, he beats up a couple dudes in this really hilarious fight scene, and then like 400 guys show up with glow sticks. It's like what I imagine Burning Man to be if I go there.
That's
They're
exactly
going to be
right.
like, imposter! Just a bunch of just like people with glow sticks come and attack me. And I'm like, I'm not supposed to be here. I don't do psychotropic drugs. I know. Oh, God. That, to me, is like my nightmare, that moment. And then Batman swoops in and saves the day. But did you notice that Batman was a little fast and loose with who he was going to confess to? He kept just... like almost telling Chase, like, I'm Batman.
At the circus.
And at the circus, he goes, Two-Face, I'm Batman! And Chase doesn't hear him? I don't care how loud a room is. You're standing next to someone, I'm Batman! Wait, what the fuck? Oh.
Hey, everybody!
I'm Batman! I really wish that somebody had turned around and went, Batman!
You know what it was? There was some guy next to him going, hot dogs! Get your hot dogs here!
Get your hot dogs! Yep,
That's
what
what happened. Factually, I saw that IMDb. It's right there.
So we did Batman, yeah. Oh, this is another great sound clip. So when the Riddler's back to normal hair, like you commented on, and he's looking like Bruce, he has the glasses, suit, and everything. Drew Barrymore by his side. This reporter's like, so, Enigma, how does it feel to be the most eligible bachelor? And then she turns and sees Bruce, and we have this clip where it's, oh, Brucey! Can you play, oh, Brucey?
Gotham must know! Oh, there's Bruce Wayne! Brucey!
Oh! There's Bruce Wayne!
That's the most weirdly sexual / just like over the top I've ever heard in a movie.
Yeah.
Oh!
It's like, it reminds me of when we were watching Olympus Has Fallen with the...
Oh, Melissa Leo.
Yes, with Melissa being drug out from the situation.
I pledge allegiance to the flag! Oh.
There's Brucey!
Oh, God, it's so good.
Gotham must know! Oh, there's Bruce Wayne!
Brucey! I'll bet he hates being called Brucey.
Bruce Wayne, he hates
It's like, Brucey.
Batman is pretty stupid in this movie.
He's real dumb.
Bruce Wayne, very smart.
Batman makes terrible decisions.
He just always is getting into situations where he get caught and thing. Now, there was one time where Bruce Wayne, he shouldn't have done this, where he walked at that gala into the machine.
Yep, because he takes out the thing and he thinks he's fine, and then Drew Barrymore's character goes, I got another of these glow stick thing. There's a lot of glow sticks in this movie.
There's a lot of glow sticks.
Joel Schumacher must have been a raver in an earlier part of his life.
They're like, how is this powered? Just put, glow stick.
Fucking glow stick.
Nobody will ask. It's nuclear power.
Nuclear power, secret of the nukes. Yeah, he does and then that's how Riddler finds out who he is because he...
Yeah, they look at the footage.
And they see a bat, and they're
They
like...
see the bat.
What kind of man has bats on the brain? Yeah!
Okay, Tommy Lee, dial it back.
Wait, we do have one sound clip that's actually a line from Two-Face.
I don't believe you.
It's the bag gas or something like that.
Nothing like a bad case of gas!
By the way,
You know?
isn't Two-Face kind of an extension of the Joker?
In a way,
In this movie with the laughs?
Yeah.
Okay.
I feel like every character, because the Joker's so amazing, I feel like no matter what the movie is, even Batman vs Superman, Lex Luthor is kind of like an extension of the Joker. Like
little
everybody,
bit, right?
Because everybody knows the Joker's the coolest character, so you're always like, make it a little Jokery. Make it a little Jokery.
Little bit of the Joker. Laugh all of the time.
You know, Gas X, the anti-gas medicine.
Yes.
I got one of those calls where they're like, hey, do you want to be a test market person for something and come see our new ad for Gas X? I was like, okay, yeah, they pay you $50. You show up and you just watch their thing and you give them feedback. And the spokesperson came out and you just heard, and then he yelled,
Nothing like a bad case of gas.
and they were like, so what do you think? And I was like, it was a little abrasive, a little strange. Not sure how I felt about it.
Came on a little bit strong.
Came on a little strong.
Not going to play well during the Price is Right, which is when we sell
Gas X.
a boatload of Gas X. I really liked when they go to Wayne Manor later on after they find out the Twicka-tweets.
When it's randomly Halloween and it hasn't been set up at all.
Yeah,
It's just...
And then
It's Halloween just for that one scene, by the way. No
Yeah,
other
that's
point.
it, that's it.
No other point in the movie.
Nope. Yeah, there was no other throw there. And Alfred opens the door.
For
And
clearly
he just-
two grown men in masks. But he's old. He's in his 70s. He maybe can't see through the peephole as well as he used to.
Alfred, come on, you're smarter than this.
Twicka-tweet!
Tweet. And then he opens the door and he gets his face bashed in.
And I wrote that down where he's in his 70s. He's not waking up from that, man.
No! And I know Two-Face and the Riddler are mean, but come on, guys.
You don't bludgeon a
He's
70-year-old
75.
butler. Come on. Then they shoot Bruce in the head and graze him.
Yeah.
And leave him be and leave him another riddle. And you think these riddles are going to build to something. And the only thing the riddle builds to is who the Riddler's real identity is.
Yeah.
Why?
Because
As if
let's give it away. It's probably the same thing. At one point, Edward Nygma was going, Bruce, I am the Riddler! And he didn't hear it.
he just was like, fine,
There
I'll give you the
was
riddle.
circus was going on. By the way, the riddles were actually written and created by Will Shortz, who's a puzzle master on NPR, and he does the
were great
New York
puzzles.
Times crossword puzzles.
They were great puzzles.
Yeah.
When Batman's having trouble finding Chase and the Riddler, why doesn't he just follow the green goo to the palace or whatever, to the
I really don't
island
know.
lair?
This
Batman, we're talking about it.
not
Batman's
that
done
hard
in
of a
this movie.
search. It's not that hard of a search.
So then Riddler sends a bunch of toy birds and blows up all the things. And then here's another great sound clip from Jim Carrey where he's in, mind you, a super tight spandex suit with total ball cleavage showing. And he does a pelvic thrust and says, Joygasm. Can we play that?
Joygasm!
And it's...
Shower sex.
There you go. There you go. That's...
Joygasm!
You know, I have told all my friends on the and fans of the show how much I love Star Wars Episode 7. And
Yes.
after when I first saw Star Wars Episode 7, at the very end of it, I just stood up in the theater and I went,
Joygasm!
it was pretty weird.
Every year when I go Black
pretty weird.
Friday shopping, I'm waiting in those long ass lines, and then suddenly they open up another check stand. The line, it gets alleviated. I get up there, I get that deal, and right at the cashier, I just look at her and say,
Joygasm!
We have another sound clip here.
Do we?
Which just shows how amazing the Riddler. We got to wrap this up in a few minutes here, but I want to play the next sound clips we have. So basically, then they go to this lair. Really ridiculous fight scenes happen that aren't that great, where Two-Face and Robin fight, or Two-Face and Robin fight, and then Two-Face falls and Pseudo dies. He falls on rocks, and you just see his hand sink away. It's really
he
anticlimactic.
throws the coins at him.
And then Riddler faces off, but before that, Chase is like, Batman's coming for me. And he play Batman, you say, is what the Riddler says. Batman, you say? Can you play it, please?
Batman will come for me.
Batman? Batman, you say? Coming for you?
I'm counting on it!
The first half of that is Jim Carrey as the Grinch.
What is happening there? I imagine he did that for a rehearsal, and Joel Schumacher was like, great, I love it. This is fun. There's another. We have a few more sound clips I want to play where because they're so good. This movie is just riddled with sound clips. Yeah. Speaking of riddled, this isn't a riddle, but there's a bunch of holes in the metal that Robin notices, and it's a throwback to the 60s TV show Holy Rusted Metal.
Holy Rusted Metal, Batman!
Huh?
Your ground, it's all metal, it's full of holes, you know? Holy!
Oh.
The best thing about that is Val Kilmer's reaction. Huh? Oh. You could just, I guarantee you what that sounds like, just from an actor's point of view, is it sounds like Val Kilmer right before that, because he had some beef with Joel Schumacher on this, obvious, because he signed on without reading a script. And then I'm sure he was like,
oh, Jesus.
Oh, fuck. So I guarantee you, this isn't fact, but I feel like just from hearing that on the day he was like, Joel, can we please cut this stupid fucking line? I already did your goddamn drive-through line. I did your chicks dig the car. I did all your other terrible lines. Can we just cut this one moment? And Joel's like, no, it's funny. It's a reference to the 60s TV show. I don't even know if that's how he sounds. And so Batman's like, fine, but I'm phoning in my performance. And then it plays out like this.
Holy Rusted Metal, Batman!
Huh?
Fuck you, Joel Schumacher.
Metal, it's full of holes, you know? Holy!
Oh.
All right, now, fuck you. You get one take. That's it. I'm done.
I personally think that it was even worse than that, and they captured this off camera when they had his mic on him, and he was talking to Joel Schumacher, and
Joel Schumacher was pitching him the idea.
Schumacher was pitching him the idea. He's going, Batman is doing the thing, and then he goes,
huh?
Holy Rusted Metal, Batman!
Huh?
We're gonna have to read the lines as they're written.
Full of holes,
Full of holes. Holy.
Oh. And then they put it in later.
That's
how they do it.
I also love the Riddler's speech, or when he turns around and he's in his full Ziggy Stardust outfit. It's just like, I don't know how he makes all these quick changes.
It's like he's a coach on The Voice.
Maybe
right
that's what it is Riddler's superpower. Exactly. I choose you, Batman, to be on my team. So he says, riddle me this, riddle me that. Can we play that?
Riddle me this, riddle me that. Who's afraid of the big black bat?
And you know what? That's one of my favorite moments of him as Riddler, because that actually feels like the Riddler. There are moments like that where it feels like what the Riddler would be like. Then there's moments like the Batman you say, which is just
perfectly,
like, stop doing
honestly expected him to go, what is the line again? Can we play it again?
Riddle me this, riddle me that. Who's afraid of the big black bat?
I expected him to go, riddle me this, riddle me that, and then go, who's afraid of the big black bat?
Yeah.
But he didn't.
I like it. I like that it was grounded.
Yeah.
If he would have played the Riddler more like that, because there are moments that I love as Jim Carrey, the Riddler. And I think a more mature Jim Carrey now, if you saw him in Kick-Ass 2, he was charactery but a little bit more restrained.
Yeah.
I think if Jim Carrey could get another crack at the Riddler now, I think he would play it a lot more fun and not so just batshit.
I certainly hope so.
I think we have a couple more sound clips and we got to get out of here. This is so... Then... the river, I don't even know what. So then the machine throws up. Batman just basically is talking to the Riddler as he's. They don't even fight. He's just like, Batman, blah, 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 overacting again. And then Batman throws his batarang up there. It's
some kind of explosive special batarang.
The light bulb that we talked about.
Yes.
That's a chain event like Christmas trees.
Yeah.
And then somehow it makes the Riddler's face morph like Max Headroom, like very like.
Yes.
And then when we cut back to him, he looks like Benjamin Button-ish. Like his face
so
is all
up.
malformed, and he's just sitting there, and he goes, and it's the "Why can't I kill you" clip. Can we play that?
Why can't I kill you?
He's just sitting there, so but it's
that
so...
is exactly how vegetarians kill chickens.
Yeah.
Right when they hear that. What are they saying?
Why can't I kill you?
It's just such a weird way to end this movie, to have him like turn into this super morphed.
He didn't look like that in Arkham later in the movie. When it ended, he just had a normal face.
Wait, they have an epilogue in Arkham?
No. In this movie, yes, but it's not an epilogue per se, but they show him in Arkham Asylum.
Yeah,
and he's totally fine.
What happened? So it's just temporary? It was like
I guess
I forgot completely about that.
Yeah,
he's like, I know who the Batman
That's when he says
is.
he's Batman.
And he goes,
yeah.
I'm the Batman. Like what?
And he's totally fine.
So this was just a temporary, super fucked up. Like it was like he got hives. He got an extreme case of hives from it. That's all.
He got shingles on the face.
I'm trying to think, which sound clip do we want to end on today? Which one do we want to go back to?
Here?
There's so many. Zach, you pick your favorite one from today. What was your favorite? That's a lot of pressure.
Joygasm!
That's what, you know what? This show today, when I get in my car, I'm going to just be so elated with talking about Batman Forever, which has been one of my favorite guilty movie pleasures because there's so much ridiculous.
There's so much.
It's so funny. I laughed my ass off alone in my living room.
Me too.
And I think during the movie, I actually just yelled out.
So it's so good.
Next week we haven't figured out our movie yet, but we're working on getting a special guest in a couple weeks that we'll be revealing soon. We're also working on collaborating with some other shows here and there, but keep your suggestions coming. We want to do get your suggestions in, and then we're going to start doing a Twitter poll so that we can have you guys. Good. That was fun. So if you guys like that, we're going to have you guys start deciding based on. We'll give you 4 options. You decide what movie we do next week. That way it's more fan interactive. Make sure you comment on our YouTube page. Make sure you comment and give us reviews on iTunes. One review, a positive review goes a long way. And retweet, follow us on @GuiltyMovieGuys because right now we have like 82 followers and it's super pathetic. But with your help, we can break 100 by next week. Cameron, where can they find you?
You can find me at The Only Camshaft on Twitter and Instagram. And by the way, I want to say thanks to all those 82 followers because I get more action on the 82 followers.
They're
Guilty Movie Guys.
They're avid interactors, and I love that. I love that so much. And also, don't forget to tell us your opinions of Batman v Superman. We want to know. Don't do any spoilers in case people haven't watched it yet, but give us your opinions. We want to start a dialogue about that. What movies we should do next week. Like I said, you can follow me at the Ben Begley on Twitter and on Instagram, and you can also follow the horror movie that my wife and I co-wrote. It's coming out June 7th at Funhouse Mass, the Funhouse Massacre, and funhousemassacremovie.com. Until next time, make sure you follow at the Popcorn Talk as well, and we will keep the guilty movie pleasure conversations going. Until next time, what is your guilty movie pleasure?
From producers Maria Menounos, Kevin Undergaro, Phil Svitek, Christian Harloff, and the entire Popcorn Talk Network, we would like to thank you for tuning in. For questions or comments, be sure to visit popcorntalk.com. I'm Sir Richard Wentworth, and this has been a presentation of the Popcorn Talk Network.
The views expressed herein are those of the host only and do not necessarily reflect the views of its owners or principals.
Yes! Oh, happy day!